Hey guys, it's Epic here, back with another Borderlands video, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you my level 69 FIREHAWK Lilith build. I do however want to go over some important stuff before we start. So I tried my best to avoid using pearls in my build due to how hard they can be to farm for, but in the event that you see a pearl that you can't get, I will have replacements ready for you guys. Also, I do use extra skill points from quest rewards in the build, however I won't be using them in the video for those of you who don't have them. For those of you who do, I will tell you what to spec into. So with all of that being said, let's jump straight into it. So firstly, we will start with my weapon loadout and also the most important weapon of my build, which is the Hellfire SMG. I recommend farming this from the armory until you get a version you're happy with. If you don't know how to farm the armory, I'll leave a link in the description to my video explaining how to do it. The second weapon I use in this loadout is the Tsunami Pearlescent SMG. If you saw my Pearlescent guide, you'll know just how much I adore this weapon. It fires shock and corrosive elements at the same time, making it handy for Crawmerax or fire-resistant enemies. However, if you do not have a Tsunami, you can substitute it for a Wildcat SMG or a Bitch SMG in the shock and corrosive elements. Moving on to physical damage, I have of course a double Anarchy, because when it comes to killing Crawmerax, yes, the Hellfire will do the trick, but nothing works better than my double Anarchy, so be sure to get one of these in your loadout with a ×4 modifier if possible. Now let's take a look at my shield, and I use the Pearlescent Ironclad shield due to its super high capacity. However, if you do not own one, you can sub it with any high capacity shield. I just use the Ironclad because I have it. For my grenade, I recommend an Incendiary Merv or Bouncing Betty, and yes, I am well aware that I could use a transfusion, but I just personally find them really unreliable, so I'm sticking with this. Onto our class mod, of course I use a Firefly com due to the amazing bonuses it gives specifically to ignite damage, which is the damage enemies take from your fire effect. We also get +3 to Phoenix, which is a super handy bonus, and you'll find out why later in the video. Speaking of comms, I should note that I do carry a Mercenary class mod around with me at all times in the event that I want to switch out to my double Anarchy for a Crawmerax kill. And now moving into my backpack items, I really don't have a lot here just because I don't think it's practical when YouTubers have like 60 items in their builds for people to farm. I don't think it's needed, and I'll show you why now. Firstly, I have an Ares for crawl worms, however you can also use a shock equalizer. I don't use the Ares though just because I have my Tsunami on hand, but if you don't have either, you can use a shock equalizer in your loadout. Next up is the Orion, and again it's not needed at all for the build, but it can be used for the worms in the crawl fight if you need it. Also, it's an Orion, which is really cool. Speaking of worms, I use the Crux here for the purples on crawl, but again I don't need it due to my Tsunami, and if you don't have one, again the Crux is going to be your go-to shotgun. Another shotty I use is the Blast Hammer, but I really only use it for fun and it's not needed at all for the build, like honestly, but if you've ever used a Blast Hammer, you'll understand why I have it here. And for the last gun, I have the Vengeance for Guardians or Ajax, simply because it bypasses shields, so it can save a lot of time when dispatching those larger groups of enemies. Now, before we jump into the skill tree, I'll let you guys know about a weapon I would have in the build but haven't came across it yet, and that is the Serpent's Pearlescent Rifle. The gun literally needs no introduction. It basically does a crap ton of corrosive damage, and I would most likely swap it out for my Crux if I had it. So, moving on to our skill tree, I won't go over every skill I have here, but I will go over the most important ones that you definitely need. Firstly, make sure Spark is fully spec'd into to make sure you're constantly causing Ignite to proc on your Hellfire. That combined with the Firefly com will do crazy damage to your enemies. Of course, don't forget to spec into Phoenix, and you'll remember I told you the +3 helps a ton, and that is simply because of the bonuses that Phoenix provides. While Phoenix is active, you deal fire damage to surrounding enemies and have a 25% chance to save ammo. Now add the ignite damage your com gives you on top of that, and you have yourself a walking incinerator. I also spec into Mind Games due to how handy dazing enemies is, simply because the moment they are dazed you can forget about them and watch them burn to death. And also for those of you with extra skill points, go ahead and spec into Resilience. I should also say that for my artifact I use an incendiary one because, well, I think you know why. Now that we've gone through the skill tree, let's hop into Old Haven and show off just how deadly the FIREHAWK build can be. I am of course testing on playthrough 2.5, and what's important to remember is that for most enemies, all you have to do is set them on fire and walk away while they burn to death. Badass enemies take a little more punishment before they die, but still fall with ease. Now what I really want you guys to pay attention to is my ammo count. I know people are always on the fence when it comes to straying away from ammo regen comms due to how fast Lilith uses up SMG ammo, but because we have the +3 to Phoenix, we have that 40% chance to not consume ammo while it's active, meaning most of the time we aren't even using ammo at all. This build is amazing and I really hope you guys like it as much as I do. With that being said, that's going to do it for this video, so if you did enjoy, a like is greatly appreciated. Also, if you want to check out more of my videos, click the cards on the right of the screen. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.